Hi guys, Pegleg here. I want to come at you today with a gear video showing all of my favorite pieces of gear, things I've used for thousands upon thousands of miles, a lot of stuff that lasted me the entire calendar year Triple Crown in 2025, and some things that lasted me the entire 10,000 mile year. Most of these gear items are things that I wasn't trying out for the first time. There are a couple things thrown in there that I had never used on trails before, but for the most part, it's things that I'd tried on previous hikes, the AT, PCT, CDT. I knew that I trusted them, they were reliable, and they really had held out in the past. I think a lot of the things I'm gonna highlight in this video kind of just go to emphasize why it might be in your best interest to invest in your backpacking gear. If you're going out on your first thru hike, you've never backpacked before, you don't really know what your gear preferences are, it's totally fine to go out with whatever you have. If you had some gear at home or gear was given to you or you bought some cheaper gear, I think that's a great idea because you don't want to spend too much money if you're not really sure if you're going to love backpacking. If you talk to 100 thru hikers, even people who've done the whole Triple Crown or just all kinds of different trails, there's going to be a lot of variation in the things people are carrying. Even people doing the exact same hike are going to be using different tents, backpacks, different sleeping pads, quilts, just a whole variety of things. So if it works for you, I'd say go out with what you have. But I've found that while a lot of people kind of are afraid of the ticket price for some of the gear items and some of the stuff I'll be talking about today because they are an investment, it's expensive to buy a $250 backpack. If you buy an $150 backpack and it wears through and breaks after one hike, then in the long run, it actually makes a lot more sense to invest in something that's not even 2 times as expensive, but at the end of the day, it can hold out for maybe 10,000 miles. So let me show you what I have in my backpack. Starting out, my Palante Desert Pack, and it's in the Ultra Weave 400 material. It's one of their newer materials, and I mean, as you can see, the pack is well worn. The only real damage is like a hole to the mesh pocket. This is a 37-liter backpack by Palante. Their desert pack I found to be the perfect size. I actually never switched my backpack out over the course of the entire year. I used the same one on the AT when there's more available resupply and things like that. And I still use the same backpack on the PCT when I had to carry a bear canister in the Sierra. And on the CDT, where there's sometimes food carries anywhere from 5 to 7 days, depending on the type of mileage that you're doing. Wonderful backpack. I hiked the entire CDT with the Palante Desert Pack that's in their regular grid stop material. I found it to be really great, but I did think that the Ultra Weave material that they're doing now is way more durable. I do a trash bag liner to hold all my things, and then everything's just kind of jumbled thrown in here. I'd say my main thing that I just loved last year that I used for the entire year was my Z-Packs Plex Solo Light. Great tent. It weighs in at about 11 ounces, so it's incredibly light. Previously, I had a Z-Packs Plex Solo, which was like the 13-ounce standard model. That tent lasted me, I believe, 8,000 or 9,000 miles when I used it before. I just figured if I was going to be starting a year and doing something like 8, 9, or 10,000 miles, it'd be nice to start fresh with a brand new tent. So I started and used this one for the first time. Absolutely loved it. It's not very different from the slightly heavier version. I think the only thing that really makes it lighter is like the guidelines, and the material's a little bit thinner. Super easy and fast to set up. Dyneema products, whether you're buying them from Z-Packs or any other company, they're very expensive tents, and I think a lot of people shy away from them. When I first got into backpacking, I had a freestanding tent from REI. It worked totally well, but it was like 2 pounds and maybe 10 ounces or something. Also just didn't last as long. I found it to get worn out a lot quicker. So yes, this tent costs somewhere around $700, but they say online when you buy the Z-Packs tent that they really only think they're going to last for maybe 1 thru hike. But this is my second tent where I've had it last for 3+ thru hikes. So it's a great material. I think if you take good care of your things, you can make this expensive piece of gear last you for years and years and years, especially depending on how much hiking you're going to be doing. So absolutely love this. It's really lightweight, really nice and easy to fit into your backpack, quick to set up, and very reliable. Next up, I have a ThermaRest X-Lite Neo Air, just like your classic ThermaRest inflatable sleeping pad. Last year, I only went through, well, I guess you could say 2 sleeping pads. My first sleeping pad actually lasted for the first 6,000 or 7,000 miles of the year. And when I started out, it wasn't new. It already had 5,000 miles or something on it. I wouldn't say that's the norm. Typically when I use an inflatable sleeping pad on a thru hike, I'm expecting to go through 1 or 2 in your standard 2,000 to 3,000 mile thru hike. I found this time around I was pretty cautious with it, and I think I also just got lucky that the pad was really high quality and it didn't have any issues. So one pad lasted me the greater majority of the year, and then this pad that I have right here did the last 3,000 or so miles of the year, and it still works perfectly fine. It's just the regular size sleeping pad. I have the pump sack in here somewhere just to fill it up so you don't have to use your mouth. Blowing the air into the pad can cause the pad to wear out quicker because of moisture and condensation. So that's something to consider, but it's not something I've ever really noticed to make a huge difference, though I never was blowing into the sleeping pad last year and it did last very long. Some of my other favorite things from last year, I used just the Z-Packs bag. It's reversible, so if you turn it inside out, it doubles as a pillow. I was always too lazy to turn it inside out, but I would fold it up at the end of the night and use just this with a little bit of clothing in there as a pillow. And it also holds all of my clothing. The next thing that I really loved last year, and it was actually my first time ever using it, were the wind layers by Montbell. It's just this really nice, thin, like almost trash baggy material. It weighs somewhere around 2 or 3 ounces for the shirt and 2 or 3 ounces for the pants, and I carried both of them. Super lightweight, really nice and breathable. I found when it was really windy, but not too cold and you still had some climbing and stuff to do, this was the perfect layer to put on just to cut the cold. You stay a little bit warm, but I didn't feel too disgusting and sweaty when I was hiking all day long in it nonstop. I also used Montbell's rain gear last year for the entire year. That's their Ultralight rain jacket. It has pit zips that go all the way up and down. It has really nice front pockets. I find really all rain gear will wet out eventually. If you're hiking nonstop in rain and you're sweating on the inside, you're gonna get damp. This one really held up. I always felt warm in it, and when I added in an umbrella, I found myself to be really dry all the time. The wind pants, wind shirt, rain jacket, and rain pants, I hiked 10,000 miles in all of those. Next up, I just use a Z-Packs bag to store this, just one of their little medium-sized Dyneema bags. This one bag also lasted 10,000 miles, and inside is my Katabatic Palisade 30-degree quilt. Absolutely love Katabatic. Not enough nice things in the world I could say about them. This quilt wasn't on its first hike. It had done 2,000 or so miles of hiking along the Eastern Continental Trail previously. Then I started the year in January of 2025 with this 30-degree quilt, and I used it for the entire 10,000 mile year. There were some times in the year when I added in a Sea to Summit silk liner, just because the temperatures were definitely a little bit colder. I don't think I ever experienced temperatures below somewhere between 15 and 20 degrees, but for me, with the other layers and things that I had, I found this to just be the perfect comfort rating for a quilt. I also have a Z-Packs food bag. This one has done like 15 or 16,000 miles, incredibly durable as well. I got this at REI. It's a flat pack. I also have carried this for about 15,000 miles. It's very durable, slightly waterproofed on the inside. I keep my personal care items and stuff in there just to have it all in one place. There are a lot of hikers who say they don't like to hike with dry bags or specific bags for organizing because it adds weight and complicates things. Everyone's different. I think that's what's fun about looking at other people's gear. Even the most experienced hikers aren't going to agree on everything. I personally love to be organized. I have a bunch of bags within my bag. I like everything to have its place. Saves a lot of time when you know where every single thing is. You're never misplacing anything. And I also find it's a lot harder to lose things when everything is where it's supposed to be. The next bag is something off of Etsy. It's just like someone made this Dyneema bag by themselves, and I've carried this for like 15,000 miles. Inside, I keep all of my electronics, Nightcore headlamp, Garmin InReach Mini. I wouldn't hike without it personally. Last year, I carried a 20,000 mAh Anchor power bank, and I also carried 2 of these 5,000 Nightcore power banks and 1 10,000 Nightcore power bank. I carried 40,000 of charge last year. I think that's overkill for a lot of people, but if you are planning on hiking and being out all the time, and you also are going to be doing content creation or video type stuff, I would recommend the more the merrier when it comes to battery life. The last thing you want is to not be able to take photos or videos or call home or something, or get help in case of an emergency just because all of your electronics are dead. The 20,000 anchor bank lasted me the entire 10,000 mile year. I previously used a pestle headlamp, which also had lasted me, I believe, 12,000 plus miles, and I just switched to the night core headlamp because it's a lot lighter. A couple other little things worth mentioning: I used Dirty Girl gaiters on and off for the entire year. Every now and then I wouldn't put the Velcro on my shoes, so I would just wind up carrying them around. I also had the Montbell 1000 fill, I believe it's the plasma puffy jacket, and that lasted the entire 10,000 mile year. This one also wasn't new at the start of the year. It's really nice, lightweight, has little pockets. And then as far as mid layers go, I think mid layers are one of the most crucial things you're going to want to be carrying over the course of the year. You want to have all of your comfortable layers to be warm in any condition that can arise, and when you're on trail, even if it's the summer, you can expect anything is possible. I used the same brand of mid layers for the entire year. Sambob Alpha layers. This is the Alpha 90 set. I actually had the jogger style pants custom made because I loved this like burgundy red and oatmeal color. So super cute. And then I have the top that goes with it. I used this for probably 90% of the entire year. So it did somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 miles. Just love these. Super comfortable and breathable. Really great for starting out when the day is a little bit cold, but not too crazy cold. Those are fantastic. And when I wasn't using the 90 Alpha by Sambob, I was using their 120 Alpha in the slightly colder areas on trail. I found I needed the little bit of extra warmth starting the Appalachian Trail in mid-February. It's not so much about having one layer that does everything, but when you have multiple things working for you, the Alpha layer, the puffy, you also have wind gear, rain jacket. So there's just like a variety of things. When stuff is wet or you're cold, you always have something in your back pocket to keep you warm. I think that's very important. Pretty much all the clothing I used last year was by Montbell. I found their stuff to last really long. It's another great example of how much do you want to invest in your hike, and do you think you're going to be hiking a lot? Because if you're maybe just going to do one hike, then there is no need to buy this higher end gear that's much more expensive. But I think you get what you pay for when it comes to these things. Started with primarily all of the same stuff that I finished the year with, which is a testament to how well all of these things actually withstand wear and tear on trail. A lot of these gear companies are designing their things for your standard backpacker. When you're doing a long thru hike, you're probably pushing the boundaries of a lot of the gear, but a 10,000 mile year of hiking is the ultimate field test for gear. So the Z-Pack's tent stood the test of time. Katabatic quilt, Palante desert pack, fantastic. Thermarest, I think it worked out really well for me. Sometimes the Thermarest pads maybe last you 1,000 miles and they pop, or they delaminate, or they last you 12,000 miles. So yeah, it really just depends what you get, and also just how you take care of everything. I found I was pretty careful and gentle as you can be with most of my gear, because I really wanted it to last. And this is just what worked for me. Everyone's kit is going to be completely different, but these are the things that I used to hike 10,000 miles in 2025. And most of it's the same stuff that I used to hike thousands and thousands of miles in the years prior to that.